Hey traders, welcome back to another video. Today we're talking about the euro, which is actually moving very sharply to the upside. And I want to talk about today, is it time to buy the euro? Is the euro on its way back to recent highs? Today we're going to do some breakdowns. We're going to talk about the euro, and I'm going to talk a little bit big picture. So buckle up, stay tuned. Let's get into the video and talk about what's up with the euro this week and going into the rest of 2020. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Nick. I talk all about trading and investing. Thank you so much for being here. If you enjoy my videos, do me a favor, like the video down below. It lets me know that you want to see more of this sort of content. If you like these sort of breakdowns where I take a look at a certain currency pair or commodity or stock, make sure to hit that like button. It does let me know that you want to see more of that sort of content. So I want to take a look at the euro dollar here. We're on the 4-hour chart. I want to show you guys what I'm looking at here. Now, it's very, very bullish right now here on the euro. What you notice is we have a lot of higher lows being formed here on the chart. We have a lot of demand being shown here on the euro USD here on the 4-hour chart. But I want to take a big picture look and say, hey, where is this thing going? Where does it have room to go? And I'm actually wondering if we can get back to that 1.2 level here, which we have not seen for some time. So we're going to get into all of that here. But just for starters here on the 4-hour chart, what do we see? We see a very bullish market. We see higher lows being formed, and we see a price movement back to the recent high that we formed. I believe this was 2 days ago, 3 days ago, something like that. You can see it was actually November 9th. So November 9th, it's been a few days since we got to this point, but we've actually fallen down and we've seen a recovery back to that point here. Now here on the 4-hour chart, you can actually see, we've got that higher lows, but here, let's take a look at the daily chart and see what we've got here going as well. So we saw that higher lows, higher lows being formed on that 4-hour chart, but let's check out this daily chart. And is it time here finally for price to break through these highs and actually start a fresh trend to the upside? Now, I actually need to take a step back before we get too in-depth with the daily chart here and show you guys something that we often see in markets. So when we get a strong long-term trend, right, which actually does tend to happen here on the euro USD, if you look back here on the daily chart, check it out. Look at this long, prolonged downtrend here that we had on euro USD. It took months and months and months for this trend to kind of complete, if you will. So the question is, are we starting to reverse that and start to head up here on the euro USD? Well, it could very well be showing signs of that. You can see we definitely clearly had a different, a change in sentiment here on the euro USD. What was a very slow and steady downtrend has become an explosive uptrend that's recently taken a break, okay? And this is what I want to get to. So a lot of times in markets, what we see is we see a dominant trend still play out, but sometimes take a prolonged pause. And that's what I think may be happening here on euro USD. For example, if we have a downtrend, we have explosive moves and then we have corrective moves, right? I'm sure many of you have heard of this. We have explosive moves, corrective moves, sometimes consolidation zones before an extension of the trend. Okay, and so I believe it is very possible here with the Fed printing a lot of money, right? Printing that US dollar, potentially devaluing that US dollar. That could lead to a situation where we have something like this, where we are currently in a consolidation zone. We'll put C for consolidation before a next move lower, okay? And that's the big question is this what is next for euro USD, except flipped, because we're talking about an uptrend. So in this case, we have, an explosive move. We have a shallow retracement. You can actually see right there if we zoom in for a second. Then we have a explosive move. There's that explosive move right here. And now we've entered into that extended consolidation zone. Well, if that trend does want to continue, if that dominant shift in energy, which we can use, we can define with that 200-day moving average, that's one of my favorite ways to do it, that longer term energy is still saying up for the time being, and it could lead to a big push the next high. Okay, so this is not like, oh, this is a pattern that happens every time and we should just bet all of our money on long. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that, okay, this is a pattern. This is a tendency for trending markets to do. We have trending markets where we have these extensions, we have these consolidations, we have extensions, and it's the natural flow of things, right? It's kind of like how an options trader might try and short volatility or put puts on volatility if they think that volatility has been very high and they predict that it will come down a bit, right? You have these different things that traders do, but a lot of times what we do see is we have these series of low volatility and then high volatility where we get these explosive moves, right? And so when we are in a period like this, I think it's fair to start questioning, hey, is it time for that volatility to pick back up and start moving this trend once more? Now, it could actually not be the case. We could see a reversal of this trend, but to me, the signs are more pointing to a uptrend continuation. And the big indication of that to me would be a break of that previous daily high here, right around this zone of resistance, okay? Now, the reason I say this is because look at how price multiple times has come up to this point and found rejection, okay? Each time price comes up to this point, sellers come in and push price back lower. So as we come into this area again, with these higher lows that we pointed out at the beginning of the video, the question now becomes, can we get that final break that we're looking for to send the euro dollar higher, which to me would look like something like this. Okay, so let's say that we do get that extension, right? If we get that extension, we show lots of strength above this previous zone, we could look for opportunities to continue the trend. And this is, to me, my favorite setup on Euro USD at the time being, is waiting to see, hey, can we get that break? And if so, could we get another extension move like this? If we were to do the same extension from, let's say, the breakout here, let's say roughly here to the previous high, that could lead us into a very strong end of year move for euro dollar. If that move were to repeat itself, we'd be at 1.25 almost, which is a big step to the upside. But we've seen it happen twice this year where we saw euro dollar move about that distance, right? There's a significant move there, then we pulled back, we saw another significant move there. It's very possible that if the consolidation zone does break higher, there's room for that upside. Now again, I could be wrong about this. I could be saying this and then say, oh, you know what? We see rejection off this zone again, we see breakdown, and things start to change directions completely. If that happens, am I a terrible trader? Maybe, but probably not, because it's not about predicting. It's about looking for setups. If they start to occur, you risk small. You look for opportunities that could yield the most reward relative to a risk. And that is exactly what I am trying to do here. What I mean by that is that if price starts to do something like this, I could enter into the market. I could put a relatively protective stop or tight stop somewhere like here, right? And if that distance were to repeat itself, right, where we did something like, move back to 1.25 almost, that gives me a decent risk reward, meaning that my reward is a lot more than the risk that I am taking on the account, which I'd probably keep it small, something like 1% or less. So that's just how I personally trade, with a larger sized account. I'm not willing to risk as much per trade because I don't really need to make some sort of decent return on a good trade if it were to work out. We'll see if it works out. Guys, this is my trade idea for Euro USD going into the rest of the year. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy it, make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave this video a like. Thanks so much. We'll see you back in the next one.